everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
How's everybody today? Good. I am so excited by the energy that I'm seeing today, and as we're on the cusp of very significant change in our nation, and this is a critical topic. I want to thank the media for being here. I want to thank my colleagues for being here. I want to thank everybody that's on the steps today to come out to stand with us in support. And we gather here today in solidarity, standing firm with our students and teachers who have been blindsided by the abrupt decision to remove AP African American Studies course from our state's curriculum. This decision strips away vital opportunities for our students to engage with and understand a significant part of our shared history. What's most troubling is the complete lack of explanation for this decision. This course is the only AP course removed, and we're left wondering why. I can tell you it's not about funding. The legislature approved a $1.4 billion increase for school funding, ensuring that financial resources are available to support comprehensive education for all students. And it's not good enough for the superintendent's office to respond by saying, oh, local districts can just choose to pay for the African American Studies course, for the AP course. They can use local funds. This is not good enough because we're not putting that requirement on all AP courses. Explain to me why this course is being singled out and is no longer eligible for state funds. Black history is American history. It's essential to our educational system because it reflects truth. Georgia is home to the second largest population of African Americans in the nation. Gwinnett County, my district, is one of the most diverse counties in the country. We are home to great leaders that have shaped our history, great African American leaders that are a part of our history. Our beloved John Lewis, Martin Luther King, Hartsfield. All these names, we could ramble off the names, and probably many people will name off. But here we are in the state where we have significant black leaders, and we're choosing to rip away black history. It seems that the foundation of Project 2025 has found a foothold in Georgia, and the repercussions of this Republicans' travesty of a bill, HB 1084, is materializing. Both initiatives are orchestrated by the same right-wing think tank working to tear our nation apart. And as a community, we must reject this regressive agenda. Now, I want to believe it is not Superintendent Wood's intent to use this divisive policy as a blueprint for governing our schools. And I do find it shameful that Superintendent Woods, an educator himself, would even consider adopting such a harmful divisive policy. We must call for the superintendent to reconsider this harmful decision. Now, y'all didn't come to just hear from me today. We have so many others that want to voice their concerns in the community, and that was the point of us gathering everyone here today. So I'm going to let some of my other speakers speak. They're going to talk to you directly about the impacts of this decision. And let's make our voices be heard. Reach out to the superintendent and demand that the course be reinstated. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I am Representative Shagun Adena, House District 110. And this morning, I'd like us to imagine a world where riches of our collective past is reduced to a single narrative, where countless voices are silenced, and pivotal moments in history are erased from our consciousness. Today, I stand before you to advocate against the removal of AP African American history, Black history, in our educational system. For it's an essential part of our nation's identity, a pillar of justice and a beacon for the future of this state and our country. Black history is not a separate chapter in American history. It is interwoven into the fabric of this nation's story. From the fight for independence to civil rights movement, Black Americans have been instrumental in shaping our country. Learning about Black history provides role models for Black students, fostering a sense of pride and possibility. It also teaches all students about resilience, innovation, and leadership. A comprehensive education that includes Black history helps break down racial prejudices and fosters a more inclusive and empathetic society. Removing this course deprives all our students of full understanding of the world and their place in it. I ask that the decision of the superintendent be rescinded immediately and we reinstate AP African American history. Let us commit to a future where every story is told, every voice is heard, and Black history remains a vital part of our educational curriculum. Thank you for being here today. We have to make our voices heard, and I'm going to turn this over to the next speaker. Thank you.
Maya Angelou said, "The more you know your history, the more liberated you are." I speak before you today as a Black woman, as a parent, as an advocate, activist, as a wife, and as an educator. I speak before you today not on behalf of Gwinnett County Board of Education. I speak on behalf of myself as an individual to share with you my feelings around the AP African American Studies. And this goes beyond AP African American Studies. This is just part of the bigger picture, part of the bigger struggle. We have legislation, we have SB 226, we have HB 1084, we have legislation that has constantly challenged and attacked the education system and supporting culturally relevant studies for our students. African American history is part of American history. James Baldwin said, "If you know whence you come, there is really no limit to where you can go." So understanding the past helps our students know who they are, and it prepares them for their future. Our youth will help to build a dynamic world and a better place where we can all experience freedom and joy. My hope is for our elected officials, educational leaders, teachers, educational support specialists to have the cultural humility and agility to learn as much as they can to ensure that our students have what they need to be successful. Culturally relevant teaching as a unique course and integrated in our curriculums are important for our students' self-concept, social emotional success, academic achievement, and positive life outcomes. Attempting to suppress Black stories, experiences, books, and cultures will not change our history, which is known throughout the world, but rather proclaims to all the prevailing viewpoint held in the South since time immemorial. Black people and Black experience have no value in American society worth of teaching, and doing so enables and justifies past harms that continue to permeate in the veins of American society. Culturally specific learning has proved to impact educational and social outcomes that ultimately drive economic value. Intentionally engaging in ethnic studies helps us to see the world from different perspectives and unites us to build a better future for all people, not just Black people, not just Asians, Native Americans, white people, Hispanic, Latinx people, but all of us. I call today on the people to unite. The power of the people is so important. So I stand before you and say, yes, send communication to the superintendent, State Mr. Woods, Department of Education, to our legislators. But I go beyond that. This is so much bigger than just AP courses. We have challenges in our literacy learning rates. We have challenges in our class sizes. We have overall challenges around academic success that disproportionately impacts Black and brown students. I stand before you today authentically, courageously, and unapologetically. I say to you that Black lives matter. Black lives matter in education. Black lives matter in our society. Black lives matter in healthcare. And when we address the most fundamental issue around Black lives, and we courageously stand for that, and we say no to the status quo, no to the standard way of operating. I call on the people today listening out here, watching, standing out here. Let's unite. Join Gwinnett Progressives. We are an organization developing a coalition of leaders, of educators, of teachers, of youth leaders, working together, multicultural, intersectional people, advocating for change. We are gathering a movement, not just this moment of AP history. It's bigger than this. We have to fight and unite now. I call for you to please sign our petition. We have a petition that we're asking you to sign. If you go to Gwinnett Progressives on Facebook, you can look up the petition. Sign the petition. This petition is a message. It's a voice for the people saying, no, we do not support the direction in which the Department of Education in Georgia is going. This is a movement, not a moment. We are fighting together, united as a people. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good morning. I stand before you today as a former Gwinnett County public school teacher and a Gwinnett County School Board member-elect. I am also a certified educator trained to teach history and social studies at the high school level with a Bachelor of Science degree in history education from Toccoa Falls College. My name is Rachel Stone, and I am here to urge the state superintendent to reconsider removing the African American Advanced Placement course from our state's curriculum. After graduating from Emory Law School in 2018, I served as a high school special education teacher in Gwinnett County Public Schools, and here's what I learned. In piloting, co-building, and teaching a culturally relevant course at the high school level, I saw firsthand the demand for such a course from parents, students, and teachers. Many of my 12th grade students expressed that for the first time, they saw themselves represented in content. I taught students who were born in various countries, including Ghana and Nigeria. For many, it was in our class that they experienced for the very first time independently reading a novel from cover to cover. In our year piloting the course, we increased students' academic achievement outcomes by 65%. Gwinnett County Public Schools is the largest school district in Georgia with over 182,000 students from 191 countries. Black students represent the second largest percentage of Gwinnett County Public School students, with Hispanic students representing the largest group. Studies show that when students see themselves represented in the curriculum, they are more likely to connect with the content. Culturally relevant courses not only teach students about shared, unique experiences, but also challenges them to think critically about the world around them. This is a critical skill for the 21st century. So I urge the state superintendent to, number one, consider the unique needs of our students. Number two, consider input from our students, teachers, and staff. And number 3, to trust our certified, trained teachers to meet these needs in a fair manner before making any final decisions. As I take on the role of school board member in January, I believe we can work together to support all of our students and make Georgia a model state for education. We have an opportunity to create an educational system that reflects and celebrates the rich tapestry of our student body. We can ensure every student feels seen, valued, and empowered to achieve their fullest potential. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Bryce Barry, and I come to you today not as just a nominee against another anti-education Republican, but also as a public school teacher myself, who goes to school every single day and wakes up every single day and goes to sleep every single night thinking about the burdens that my students carry. I think about the student that I had that last year went home, got off the school bus, and was evicted from her own home. I think about when I came back from winter break last year and my roof had fallen in my classroom because of a water pipe breaking in my classroom. I think about these things and I see that we have much larger issues in our state than one singular class. And why is it just this class that is being targeted, that we have asked all over again? Why is it just this class that we're targeting? Why is it that besides the other surmounting issues facing our teachers and our students that we have every single day, the superintendent seeks to restrict our access to this class and this class only? So let's call it what it is. This is an assault on our history. We talked about Black history is American history, and Black history enriches American history. Black culture enriches American culture. Without it, there would be not the foundation that we have today. This is also an assault on the freedom of choice for our students who work so hard every single day. I know I was in high school 7 years ago. I'm sorry for my other representatives that I'll be joining soon. When I was in high school 7 years ago, there was prerequisites that we had to take. We worked hard to be able to take AP courses. And you work so hard over a course of your 4 years in high school, only to be told no. And that's not right. The state should not have the right to say a child cannot explore, should not be able to learn, and shouldn't have the freedom to grow and be inspired by culturally relevant materials. And so that's why we're here today. We're calling on all of us to call your state superintendent and ask him, why did he choose this course? Amongst the plethora of other AP courses, why this course was taken out of our schools. But then after that, ask him why he's continuing to be an inhibitor on the freedom of choice for our students. Why he's continuing to be an inhibitor on letting teachers teach. Teachers just want to teach, students just want to learn, and we need to create a Georgia that cultivates learning and cultivates productive, progressive teaching. And that's why we're here today. So thank you all so much, and continue to ask these questions of our state school superintendent.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dante Carter, First Vice President of the Atlanta NAACP. I'm here with members of the Georgia State Conference of the NAACP on behalf of the Georgia State Conference of the NAACP, the Atlanta NAACP, and its president, Gerald Griggs. You know, we had a training earlier this year, and one of the things that the educator talked about was the fact that after the Emancipation Proclamation was codified, the first thing that was attacked was voting rights and then education. And he said, if we don't get this right now, it's going to take us another 100 years before we get these rights restored. I want y'all to know the NAACP is nonpartisan, but we are political as hell. And right now there's an attack on blackness. Everything from voting rights to our children still being shot down like dogs in the street by the police. And it's time for it to stop. Everybody wants to know what the ask is. Well, my ask is to our allies, it's to vote different. Yes. We already know what the outcomes are going to be before we even see the results. It's time for us to vote different. In 2020, there was a whole lot of we support you, we stand with you, but you know what? We didn't see any legislative change, and I got a problem with that. I got a little girl over there that I bring here intentionally so that she understands what this fight is. Make no mistake about it, there is a fight. There is our fight There's a fight for us to breathe, a fight for us to think, and a fight for who we want to be as a community. And it's time for us to make those decisions on our own. We don't need anybody else's help. It's time for us to do that. And so on behalf of the NAACP, I'm Dante Carter. Thank y'all for your time.
Hello, I'm Mallory Fannon, and I am a current teacher with Gwinnett County Public Schools. Today, I speak with a sense of profound disappointment and concern over the recent decision made by State Superintendent Richard Woods. His abrupt withdrawal of funding and support for AP African American Studies just a week before the school year commences has left a deep impact on me and my students. As an educator who has dedicated years to teaching in Title I schools, primarily serving minority communities, the importance of representation and inclusivity in our curriculum resonates deeply with me. As educators, we were eagerly preparing to introduce a new, diverse AP offering that would enrich our curriculum and provide students with a deeper understanding of African American history, culture, and societal contributions. Many of us invested time and resources, including attending professional development sessions like the College Board AP Institute, specifically geared towards implementing this course. To have these efforts rendered useless days before the school term begins is just not a disappointment, but a gross mismanagement of educational resources. Representation matters. For students from minority backgrounds, seeing themselves reflected in the curriculum is empowering. It validates their experiences and fosters a sense of belonging and pride in their heritage. AP African American Studies was poised to provide my students with a broader understanding of history, one that goes beyond traditional narratives and acknowledges the full scope of African American contributions in our society. It is a fundamental component of American history, one that expands our collective knowledge beyond the confines of enslavement and the civil rights movement. For the state superintendent to disregard the significance of providing diverse course offerings in our school is deeply troubling. Education is not just about teaching facts. It is about fostering understanding, empathy, and respect for diverse perspectives. By canceling this course without adequate notice or explanation, Superintendent Woods has not only disrupted our educational plans, but has also undermined the principles of transparency and respect that should govern educational policy. In closing, I urge Superintendent Woods to reconsider his decision and reinstate funding and support for AP African American Studies. Our students deserve access to a curriculum that reflects the rich tapestry of American history and prepares them to be informed global citizens. As educators, it is our duty to advocate for educational equity and ensure that every student has the opportunity to learn and grow in an inclusive environment. Thank you. Thank you for your attention and your ongoing commitment to education and the well-being of our students.
We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile with torn and bleeding hearts. We smile and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all of our tears and cries? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. I am Rashad Brown, hailing from Tallahassee, Florida, a graduate of Florida A&M University, and I come here as an AP African American Studies consultant who works with College Board to teach different school districts across various states around this beautiful country how to implement this course. I am also fortunate enough to be a current AP African American Studies teacher with the wonderful school district in Atlanta Public Schools, and the ask is very simple. Our public servants are here to serve the people of Georgia, and if the superintendent of Georgia is unwilling to act in the best interest of our students, we are happy to lead a coalition to identify a replacement. That's right. Black history is American history, and anyone who doesn't understand that is not fit to serve our scholars and our students in this beloved state. As Georgians, we pay taxes into this system, just like everything else. And let me make this very clear. College Board current classes are adopted in the state of Georgia, including European studies, Japanese studies, German studies, British literature. We have multiple courses that are approved and adopted currently in the state of Georgia. And I hear the question often asked, well, why? Well, why African American studies? Our students actually did a dive into this. What is the reason why? They looked up anti-literacy laws, and I would encourage everyone here to do the same thing. Georgia in the 1820s had an anti-literacy law. The anti-literacy law made it a crime to teach newly freed slaves and Negroes how to read and write, and the students wanted to know why. And what was their conclusion that they drew? Understanding how to read and write, and how to understand the law, and how to advocate for yourself represents a dangerous threat. So the ask is very simple in conclusion. We humbly and respectfully ask for the governor and the superintendent to take immediate action on this, to reinstate state funds for this course, and to make sure all of our students are treated fairly and equally under the law. Otherwise, we need to go ahead and mobilize to find a suitable replacement who can serve all Georgians.
All right. Well, good afternoon. I know I might be a familiar face to many, but it bears repeating that I am a public school student, and I am proud of it, in the Gwinnett County public school system. Thank you, Senator Merritt, Leader Butler, and Representative Dr. Jasmine Clark for organizing this much-needed press conference. My name is Tyler Lee, and I am a current senior at Peachtree Ridge High School in Gwinnett County, and I was supposed to take AP African American Studies this fall. Many people know me for my work in the community, organizing for causes such as gun safety and voter registration. A large part of my organizing work in Gwinnett County is embedded in community relationships with Black leaders who have stepped up to run and represent us at all levels of government. I am proud of Gwinnett County Public Schools for being the first school district to alert parents, teachers, and students about the sudden change taking place in our curriculum. Thank you, Dr. Therese and Member-elect Stone, for being at the forefront of this issue in Gwinnett County Public Schools. Students and teachers are being caught in a political game right now, being played by state leaders that want to silently suppress accurate and comprehensive education in Georgia by cutting off support for advanced placement African American studies. It should be understood that this class is an elective, a class students are able to opt into. One man remains responsible for this, and we are calling on him to reverse this decision right now. When one community hurts, all of us hurt. I can firmly say that the Asian American community understands that this is an attack on all efforts to provide cultural history. And I can proudly say that the Asian American community stands with the Black community in this fight as we strive for basic and comprehensive education all over the state of Georgia. Gwinnett is a beautiful mosaic of different ethnicities and cultures and is home to the largest school district in this state, a county and school system where people from all over the globe can be found building community and supporting one another. Superintendent Richard Woods is denying educational opportunities to students in Gwinnett County and across Georgia. State Superintendent Woods, I would like to remind you that you retain your seat because of the voters in this state. If you fail to change your ways, we will change you out.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nate Whipple. I am a student at Lasker High School in Cobb County, Georgia, and I'm the chair of the Georgia High School Democrats. I want to thank you all for being here covering this story, and I want to thank Representative Clark and her colleagues for inviting me to speak today. Today, I want to tell you a story about my friend Jason. Jason is in my grade at Lassiter. He's incredibly involved in his community. He's the president of the NSAC chapter of Jack and Jill of America. He's one of the best track sprinters in the state, and was just recently elected alongside myself to lead our senior class in our student government. Jason loves his family, friends, and most notably, his culture. He is the president of our school's chapter of Black Student Alliance, dedicated to raising awareness and educating students about African American culture. Late last year, Jason approached me asking for help in getting AP African American Studies in our school's options for classes. We got to work. Soon after, we had a petition with over 500 signatures, numerous students committing to taking the class, multiple teacher signatures, a teacher agreeing to teach the class in the fall, and eventually administrative approval to allow AP African American Studies to be taught. With Jason's work and leadership, he was able to spearhead a transformative effort to change our school for the better by providing an outlet for students to get a detailed and in-depth education about African American history and culture. Soon after, we learned that our school district had struck down this effort. We were given reasoning of it being off curriculum and containing divisive content. Now, just recently, we wake up to the news that this course has been effectively banned statewide. This is an extremely misguided decision. Preventing this class from being offered impedes on the ability for students to dive deeper into African American history and move beyond the often surface level education that we already get through elementary, middle, and high school. Becky Pringle, president of the National Education Association, describes this course as, quote, a big step in the right direction towards ensuring students, especially students of color, have access to advanced courses that reflect the diversity that is America. The removal of this course highlights a trend growing across the country, with numerous examples of politically charged suppression of classes like AP Psychology and the censoring of certain information in others. These are frequently based on political fallacies of critical race theory being taught in public schools and some sort of left-wing indoctrination scheme. These bans ultimately attack our freedom to learn. My message My message to Superintendent Woods, the State Board of Education, state legislators, and school and county officials across the state is as simple as this. Take a look at who really wants classes like these to be offered. It's not political operatives, it's not Democrats, it's not lobbyists, it's students. Students, we want to learn. We want to feel empowered. We want to have access to any information available, especially that of such historical significance. We are not interested in your political games. In the end, it's about our future and our right to a comprehensive education that respects and reflects the true diversity of our history and society. Until then, we'll keep fighting so that students like Jason can see themselves reflected in our curriculum, and every student's story is valued and heard. Thank you very much.
Hey y'all, thank you all for being here today. The press for being able to amplify this important issue, and so making sure that people all across our state know what is going on and what the superintendent is doing. I want to take a moment. Can we give a round of applause to all of the educators, students, and legislators that serve as allies to education? Because there are a lot of people in Georgia that are not allies to education. Thank y'all. Thank you all. I'm so glad to stand with you here today. My name is Parker Short. I'm the chairman of the Young Democrats of Georgia. I'm a graduate of DeKalb County Public Schools, and I recently got my degree in public policy from the University of Michigan. Don't blame me, I'm sorry. You know, hey, maybe if we funded our education a little bit better and invested in the Hope Scholarship, we would allow for more students to go and get an education without debt. So I'm gonna tell you a little story about my school. I went to Dunwoody High School. I think y'all might know it. It's a little suburban town right outside the perimeter. And, you know, I like where I grew up, but I can't say I'm proud of Dunwoody. And I'm gonna tell you something. My teacher from high school, Miss Peekinen, had 100 students sign up to take AP African American History with her this year. And as we said, we're about to start. And I know my teacher has been spending all summer, my teacher from years and years ago, who's still there, spending all summer preparing her lessons plans, looking at books, reviewing the College Board materials, as the educators here have been. And I know all of those students have been excited about the coursework, excited about the opportunity to learn. But that is not a reality, because the superintendent doesn't believe that that is worth funding. And now let me tell you why it is worth funding, because I'm going to tell you something about Dunwoody that nobody will ever tell you. They're not going to teach you this in the Dunwoody history class or AP US history, any history. Dunwoody is named after Confederate Major Charles Archibald III. That is a history that we should understand. And every time I say the name of the city I'm from, the high school that I went to, I have to sit with the weight that we are a white flight city, and we're apparently still living those values because we're unwilling to educate our students, not just in DeKalb, but statewide. And as I will say, as many speakers have said, this is an elected position. And he is up in 2 years. I hope he will listen to us, but you know, a lot of the high schoolers here, they can register at 17 and a half. You know, and they're gonna remember that their state superintendent took a course away from them. Instead of providing more education, the leader of our state education system took a class away from our students. So I'm gonna tell you about one more DeKalb County school, right, before I close. Because, again, I will say, Dunwoody is named after Charles Archibald Dunwoody III, a Confederate major. We don't know the history of our town, the Confederate hospital that was there, the names of our streets. The fact is that the stone in this building was mined from Stone Mountain. And we are on the road that is named Memorial Drive. And it is not a memorial of something worth memorializing. It is a memorial of the Confederacy. And this is what is being upheld by the superintendent when he says we can't teach this history. Because Stone Mountain has a road straight to the Capitol. Because it's symbolic that the world's largest Confederate monument is in my county, Representative Mitchell's county, many of these people's county, an overwhelmingly African-American county. And you know what? 98% of the students at Stone Mountain High School are minorities. 98% of the students that live in the shadow of that giant mountain filled with names of streets of Confederate majors. But that's who we choose to have reflected on our history? That's what we have to live with? We're not going to talk about the nasty history that is Dunwoody and the Confederate cemeteries hidden everywhere, the white flight tax policy, the way that your money isn't actually spent to take care of education. But you know what? Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for taking action, because we need to take action. We need to take action. I encourage you to call the state superintendent, because our students deserve more classes, not less. Our schools deserve more funding, not less.
There you go.
You deserve the opportunity to take that class. Thank you all.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant. I'm the pastor of New Birth Cathedral in Stonecrest, Georgia. I want to give a high commendation to our elected officials who are standing on today. I represent the faith community to say squarely to our superintendent that the faith community is conscientious objectors to what it is that you are attempting to do. I wanted to salute these elected officials because at the exact moment that we stand in this place, congressional leaders are walking out of our U.S. Capitol because Netanyahu is about to speak. And they do not want to be seen or supporting somebody who is committing terrorism against Palestinians in Gaza. I want to suggest that what it is that Superintendent Woods is endeavoring to do is nothing short of intellectual terrorism. Because it is, in fact, handicapping our students from being able to compete on a global stage. To extract African-American history out of the minds and out of the palate of Georgia students will, in fact, rewrite history. African proverb says that lion's history is always written by the hunters. It was Angela Davis that said, the ones who create the murders are the ones who write the reports. It's a critical moment for us to consider why it is that this is such a distraction to who our community and what our culture is. If we extract African American history out of Georgia, then it would suggest why it is that as a teenager, Martin Luther King Jr. could go to Morehouse, but could not go to Georgia State. It would suggest to us why it is that Maynard Jackson was the very first African-American mayor, and why there could not be a black mayor in a city that was predominantly black. To suggest that African-American history is not taught would take away the emerging prowess of Julian Bond, and why it is that he orchestrated sit-ins for students in the Atlanta University Center. To take away the Atlanta University Center is to suggest that Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Morris Brown were unnecessary and were just an asterisk in time. To not talk about Georgia's history, we'll talk about how it is that Martin Luther King Jr. won the Nobel Peace Prize, but while living on Auburn Avenue, could not go into Buckhead because of a sundown law. It would suggest why it is that we don't even talk about why Savannah is really the epicenter of black consciousness for the world, and why the very first Black Baptist church was set there. It does not want to talk about how black men were castrated in Rome, Georgia, how they were hung in Columbus, Georgia, how it is that black women could only get servant jobs in Athens, Georgia. We stand today like Langston Hughes to say that I too sing America. Langston Hughes was thinking about Georgia when he said, I too sing America. They ask me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I just laugh and eat well and grow strong, for I too am America, unless you are a student in Georgia. On Saturday, New Birth Missionary Baptist Church is opening up its doors. We're doing something that no other community is doing. All over the state over the next couple of days, you're going to hear about back-to-school programs. For 3 years, we gave out 5,000 pairs of shoes to young people who were going back to classrooms. But this year, we decided to do something different because so many people were going to give out backpacks and give out book bags and give out iPads, and all of them are sorely needed. But this year, we are not giving it to students. I need you to hear this. We're doing back to school for teachers because so many teachers are having to spend out of pocket in order to decorate their classrooms and to get all of the supplies that are needed and necessary. Before the pandemic, thousands of us in Georgia used to go to the movies. Now we just watch Netflix and chill. But in the movie theater, before the movie comes on, there's always the preview. And I am afraid, Georgia, this is a cautionary tale because what Superintendent Woods is endeavoring to do is a preview of Project 2025. And unless it is, we go to sleep at the wheel, we're going to choke on the popcorn. This is a picture of DEI, delusion, equity, inclusion, because it does not show us for who it is that we are. And so our responsibility is to share that the threat is in fact weakened if we don't understand power concedes nothing without a demand. And so we are not passively suggesting, we're actively demanding. These AP courses are installed, and they are installed immediately. Not because you are Democrat or Republican, but do it if you believe in the future of Georgia, and the future is in our children. Thank you so very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Richardson. I'm the president of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. I'm also the executive director of Atlanta North Georgia Labor Council, and we represent workers. Too many times we have to go and defend workers on the job because they lack education. They lack the skills. An educated workforce is what you need. You're bringing in business saying this is the best place to do business, but you won't educate the workers. So how can they sustain themselves with this foolishness? Let me read something to you, because this is really my concern. And I got to go to the Lord on this. You say I'm allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for you. And even though I am allowed to do anything, I must not become a slave to anything. 1 Corinthians 6:12. Stew on that, Mr. Woods.
You know, many times I come last on the program. And I come last because they call me the closer. But let me tell you, there is nothing to close about this issue until the superintendent comes back to the table with these speakers, with these students, and get this issue settled. We know he has not done a good job. And I'm with you. If you want to switch him out, I'm with you. And I want to thank all of you for joining us this afternoon to discuss this horrible decision by the state superintendent. I want people to understand one thing about the superintendent's decision. This is not some one-off special event. This decision is the latest attack in a long-running GOP war on Georgia's public education. Just over the last year, Republicans ripped massive amounts of funding out of our public schools to pay for wealthy families' private school tuition. Republicans in Cobb County fired a teacher for reading a book that Republicans didn't like. And Senate Republicans tried forcing through a massive bill that would have criminalized keeping certain books on school library shelves and made teaching a comprehensive sex education class impossible. That's just the last year. We go back a few more years, and we get the Republicans' Divisive Concepts Law, which banned teachers from talking about certain ideas about race. When I was first elected 26 years ago, I came to this building with a simple belief that all of us, Democrats and Republicans, wanted to give Georgia's kids the best public schools we could possibly give. Boy, was I wrong. Republicans do not want the best public schools we can offer. They want our public schools starved of money. Our teachers fired if they don't toe the Republican line, and our curriculum to reflect a Republican view of history. How do I know? Because for 20 years, that's what they've done. And that's why we are going to keep on keeping on. Look at their own agenda. We all heard about the Project 2025 in the last few weeks. What we are talking about today fits right in with that stuff. Defund Title I schools. Convert IDEA funding for disabled students into a voucher program. Eliminate the Department of Education. And teaching race in a way that aligns with the Republican political agenda. I bet a lot of Georgians had the same thought I did when I first heard about Project 2025. That sounds familiar? Because here in Georgia, they've been running Project 2003. That's the year the Republicans took over. And that's the stuff they've been trying to do to our schools ever since. Our students deserve better. Our students deserve a world-class education that allows them to expand their critical thinking skills and learn new perspectives on their state and country. Think of the possibilities of AP African American Studies courses offers. Black Americans have made incredible contributions to American science, medicine, politics, business, sports, and the arts. This course would cover nearly every subject the state is required to teach. But instead, we're telling our students, no. No, you don't have that, because Republicans consider a class on the African American experience too divisive for our students. I trust our students and teachers far more than I do these Project 2025 Republicans. I urge the superintendent to reconsider his decision. As I said up top, get to the table with these speakers and these students and make a different decision. And I urge him to work towards building the best public school system in the country, not building a public school designed to serve the political interests of the Republican Party. Thank you all again for being here, and I appreciate you being here to hear all of these remarks. I think they all deserve a round, rousing applause. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here today. We are about to wrap up, and we will take questions. But before we do that, I want to be clear to Governor Brian Kemp, to State School Superintendent Richard Woods, to the State Board of Education, do right by our students. Reinstate AP African American Studies immediately. Do right by our teachers who have spent time preparing to teach this class. Do right by the students of Georgia, because yes, Black history is not just slave history. Right. Wow. Black history is not just a history of us being strange fruit hanging on trees. Black history is not just about us being shut out and cast aside. That's right. Our history is rich and diverse, and it starts way before the transatlantic slave trade. And our students deserve to see that reflected in their curriculum. Do the right thing, Superintendent Woods. Do the right thing, Governor Kemp. I don't know if you're in your office, if you can hear us or not. Do the right thing. Do it. Do the right thing for our state, and do the right thing for our students. Thank you all, and we'll take questions.
Superintendent Woods has sent out a release this morning that suggests that local districts could teach this content using a code for the state African American Studies elective. If districts could teach this course and get state money, is that an acceptable outcome? Should be an option.
Absolutely not. We're not doing that for any other AP course. Why do we singling out AP African American Studies? Stop targeting us out. We deserve to have the same type of funding other AP course has. And to do that, to even suggest that, our course is somehow less than, and that's not okay.
We can't be any more clear. We're asking for the AP course to be put back on the listings of AP courses that will be state funded. We're not, this is non-negotiable. And if we're gonna go there, take all the AP classes off and make them locally fund all of them.
And just also, may I just please say, as an educator and a consultant with College Board, doing such a thing is going to make our students less competitive because they will not be able to receive the AP credit. Our students don't need to take a generic course and not receive the AP credit, because what will happen is their GPA will suffer, but they will not be able to have the same type of rigor, and that is unfair to our students. If you're not going to give our students the AP credit, nobody should have AP credit in any of the courses.
We're gonna go ahead and wrap up. We're going to wrap up on that. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us today. Please write Superintendent Woods. Reach out to your governor. I asked my students to get involved, all the young people, our educators, our teachers. This is going to take a movement from all of us. Thank you all for coming today. You all did a fantastic job. Thank you.
Fabulous.
Yep, there you go. Bend the knees.